Peace. Decided to come into the garden today, and I have no idea why it's confetti falling. But I decided to come in. Let me sit this down. Come into the garden today. I've been working extremely hard these past week or so, and I have a moment, and I got a book that I purchased. You see, I'm a huge fan of art. I'm an artist myself, and I'm a huge fan of certain artists. One of those artists being Robert Crumb. He's an artist I was aware of when I was a kid, but I never, really had a chance to get my hand on his work, just being a kid, And as of late, within the last year or so, I've started collecting his comics and his books and a lot of things of that nature. Hold on one second. I don't know why there's random things going on in my live stream. I can't figure that out for anything. Maybe that's it right there. Alright, so the book that I have today is volume 1 of Robert Crumb's sketchbook. I picked this book up probably about a week ago, and I'm going to go through it now. I haven't gone I did. I flipped through it while I was in a car, and I had a chance to just kind of flip through it while someone was driving. So I'm just going to go through it right now and just check it out. I'm a huge fan of, like I say, his work. Other artists I'm a fan of, Charles Schultz, the artist and creator behind the Peanuts. I love his line work. Sometimes when it comes to artists, it can just simply be about their line work or their quality of work. I may not actually like the work. It just so happens that I do like the Peanuts gang and stuff like that. So let me go in and go through this book here. And this also has inspired me. Not this book particularly, because I haven't gone through it yet. But I'm going to do a sketchbook of my own and put that out. I have really long hair, so occasionally my hair may kind of fall into the book. So let me move that to the side now. And I do have allergies, so I'm out here in the garden, out here in all this here. So if I begin sneezing or something, just give me a bless you or something, okay? And my nails right now, because I should clean them. I'm doing a lot of starting and stopping, but just to explain, I was just messing around in the garden and everything, and I don't know, maybe I should wash my hands before I touch the book. I don't know. But either way, let's go. Now, one thing you will notice about Robert Crumb's work is that it's not for everybody. You will notice that. You will see that. He uses the female form a lot, over-exaggerated ways, and sometimes not so exaggerated ways, just the way he views them and the way he likes to depict his women. Again, if you have a problem with that, then you can stop the video right here. I have no problem with that. He uses a lot of cross-hatching in his work. Right here, I don't see much cross-hatching. There's a bird in here singing. I don't know where he is though. He's not using much cross-hatching in these. These are just simply, he's using vertical line to depict shadow. It looks like a lot of these were done in like one pass, meaning He just simply took the pen and just confidently did the lines. Didn't try to redefine any lines or anything. He drew exactly what was on his mind. It's one thing about certain art I do not like. I don't like when lines look hairy or fuzzy. It's just dragonflies flying all around my head right now. When they're really, really fuzzy, meaning that the artist is very unsure, or they think that's how art's supposed to look, and they start doing that to create a line. Instead of just doing one line, they'll make 20 different lines. That bothers me. And as an artist myself, I can look at that sometimes, and I can tell that's a very unconfident artist. And you see, I find that funny. This is the kind of thing I would blow up and have hanging in my house. And my daughter would probably laugh at it every time she walks past it. It's amazing to see drawings of artists, especially like private drawings. I don't know if these are considered private or not. But you can see the start of many things that have become great. For instance, I would love to see a Walter Lantz or a Walt Disney sketchbook, so I can see like their early sketchings, not necessarily of Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, but just the kind of things they thought about when they were 12. I look back through some of my sketchbooks when I was like 9 and 10, and I can definitely see how I was obsessed with adventure, and the female form. It was always some young boy climbing a mountain, or some boy jumping a river, or some type of gorge or something to get to some type of woman. And that may stem also from my love of like the Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda when I was a kid. I would put myself into the shoes of those protagonists, and I was always after some woman, some type of love, or some type of you know satisfaction. And these are just blank pages. It's not like there's a signature or a date. Now this book is from 64 to 65, but there's not even a title where he the mourners or something like that. There's nothing like that. It's just his sketches. These may have gone on to become posters or something like that later on in his career. I don't know. Like I say, I just started studying Robert Crumb about a year ago, and I find him completely fascinating. I knew of him. I'm very familiar with his name and who he is through, in the basement of my father's house, he had a Keep On Trucking. It was a wooden plaque, probably like a 10 by 4 or something like that, and it was the three guys that keep on trucking. I used to stare at it, and at the bottom corner it said R. Crumb on it, and I thought it was amazing. I'm not the type of person who looks at other people's art, especially established artists, and try to tell you what's going on inside their psyche. That's not necessarily me. But sometimes if I see something that's relative, I can look at it and say, yeah, I know what this is. And at times I do that, but I don't say it out loud because, you know, I just don't. Maybe I'll start doing that later on as I continue to go through books and talk and all that good stuff. It's actually really good. And again, most of his line work looks like it was done in just one pass. It's just what he sees. What he feels, what he sees in his mind. This is also an artist, I don't know if there's any in this book. He does a lot of racist or racially charged themes and imagery. You know, for someone who's a very outspoken person when it comes to matters like that, when it's depicted harmlessly in art, and when I say harmlessly, I just simply mean there's not a call to arms. Anyone can think what they want. That doesn't bother me at all. You know, someone can express that, hey, I don't like this group of people. And then I could say, well, what do you plan to do about it? They say, well, I don't want to do anything about it. I just personally don't like them. You know, it's like, would you ever punch them in the face? Like, no. Would you ever, say something negative to them? No. In their face, behind their back? Well, no. It's just that I don't necessarily like it. And I don't mind that. It's like I use this metaphor a lot. I like anchovies, right? And my daughter loves black olives. Well, I don't like black olives, and my fiance, she doesn't like anchovies. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's just what you don't like. You don't have the palate for, regardless. And you can understand how someone else can completely love it. You can, um, it has the right to exist. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just that when it comes to that particular thing, it's not palatable to me. So that's how I feel when it comes to art and a depiction of certain uh, race implications and things like that. It doesn't bother me. I see it, and it's sometimes you wish it wasn't, but you kind of go, well, what can I do? If I stop him from expressing himself, then he has the right to tell me to stop expressing myself. You see, I believe in freedom of speech and a freedom of expression. That's just me. But when it comes to a call to arms, that's kind of where I draw the line. And this is one thing I don't really do much. I don't really depict landscapes, cityscapes, shall I say. I don't really do that. And I was thinking more about it. I have a plan on going and sitting at it's a cafe I'm familiar with. And I want to go sit there one day and look out the window, and I just want to draw what I see. Take the ink pen in one pass and just do it. And you can see that a lot of this is one pass because you see this building actually goes directly through this lamppost here, and the top of the lamppost has you see, this is just line work. Line work. This type of thing is fascinating to me. You know, I remember being when I went to art school, and I would challenge my art teachers sometimes. I would ask them, they want me to do work exact. Like if we had a model in front of us, and I drew her like this, I would have got 22 Fs and kicked out the school. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that it's not about depicting reality. It's about depicting an interpretation. But I do believe that most artists should know how to thoroughly depict something. Therefore, when you break the rules, it becomes that much more important. It's looking at Picasso. You see the type of work Picasso did at the age of 14 and 16. It was phenomenal. He did works that a lot of people at my age couldn't even fathom. But as he got older, his work became more disjointed and more abstract and more absurd. And it's like he knew the rules, so breaking the rules became fun for him. That's how you have fun. It's breaking the rules. When you're a kid and you're loud in the theater, it's expected. When you're an adult and you're loud in the theater, you're a jerk, you know? And a person can be totally aware that they're a jerk and doing it, then that's when it becomes trolling, you know? So that's how I look at it. I'm pretty sure he knows it with his obsession with women. He knows what the female anatomy looks like, but this was clearly a choice. This was a choice to do that, and I support it. More vertical lines for shadows. See, I found this phenomenal. This looks like, you ever seen like those Game Boy printers or those very early, um, I can't explain what you call them, like calculator printers? That's how this looks to me, you know. And this was done in 1964. See, I love this. And I have pictures that I've done um, similar to this, and this is before I even knew of his work so deeply, you know. And it's what was odd for me is that, sorry, it was a mosquito on me. Is that, you know, when I was younger, there was no YouTube, there was no extensive way to kind of study a lot of artists in one spot. So, for instance, now if you go on YouTube and type in Pablo Picasso, you will get just behind the scenes footage that they found from wherever, interviews, documentaries from his loved ones, interview with his brother, from his mistress, from his wife, his muse, his daughter. Like, you'll find, when I was young, you know, there was like this, just a book in school, or just to go to the library and just hope they have something on modern art. And you pick it up and you read through it, and it just says, hey, how great he was. You know, you don't really get to get into the artist. But now, in the last few years, I've been kind of looking at documentaries and formulating thoughts and ideas on artists based on all the information I'm given. And I find out how many artists think alike and how alike I am with a lot of artists. I've always felt alienated when it comes to me expressing my art. I'm the type of character, I could sit at a bar and we can look at all those dragonflies, and I could sit at a bar and we can talk. I don't talk sports. I don't really know. This is baseball. We could talk women. We can talk music. We can talk, you know, modern. We could talk whatever we want to talk. But as soon as I say, "Oh yeah, man, I saw this wonderful large canvas the other day at the MoMA," the whole room gets silent, and you know, I'm the odd man out, and I'm just forced to sit in my mind and then write down the thoughts, write down what I felt about the painting I saw, so I don't lose it. I never shared a lot of my art information with people. When you share information with people, what happens? It goes into the atmosphere, and it's never forgotten. You know, because you said it, it's in the air. They remember it, so they can recall. Like, hey, remember that time we talked about this? And you're like, oh yeah. So me, I'll have thoughts in my mind, and I'll just simply write them down so I don't forget them, because I have no one to really discuss when it comes to my feelings, whether intellectual or just off the cuff thoughts of a particular work of art. Look at this. This is see. I look at this. I did a piece like this that I destroyed. I'm gonna talk very briefly about it. Maybe I'll go into another piece. It was probably 2013, and I was dealing with a situation, and I painted someone. Now, as I recall, I think I don't know. It was painted in blue and black, and it was the middle of the night. I got up and I just slopped it together. And when I looked at it the next day, it was a woman with hair similar to that, and she was screaming, and she had all these jagged teeth and all the rest of this. And I'm kind of going to leave it there. So I don't know if what this is depicting, but I could tell you what mine was. But I'll save that for another story. But that's very strange that I would see that image, because I did one very, very similar to it. Oh, let's fly. See, I like that. I like that. That's a poster I would love to have. I would love to have that. See that? See, I don't do pieces like that. My mind doesn't even think to do pieces like that. I think because I'm so obsessed with form, and I'm not trying to say this is formless. It's far from it. It's just that I like very organic things. I don't really pay attention to things that are man-made. So I would never really think of drawing like sneakers or a bus or shoes or a building. I'll draw people and mountains and maybe a bow, because at least a person kind of created the bow. People created the buildings and buses too, but it's things that are very organic that kind of comes to me. And I'm thinking about stepping out of my comfort zone for a little while and striking out on something else. See, I would never draw that. You can, if it's coming across in this video and you hear a bunch of flapping, kind of sounds like this. Those are dragonflies, and they're flying all around my head. They're everywhere. See if I can catch a few. Of course, I go over there, they go over here. Now I look like a crazy man. All right. So there we go. Hold on. Come on, dragonflies, where you at? You see him? They're everywhere. Let's see. I would do this. And again, he's using vertical lines and shadows, and I absolutely love it. And I'm pretty sure someone else can probably talk a lot deeper about some of this. But I'm just talking what I know. And I'm kind of holding back on some things I assume. Because the last thing I want to do is put out false information or sound like an idiot. But, these are just my thoughts. That's all. That's all they are. Now I have a question. When it comes to his blacks like this, I know it's probably still ink, but I'm assuming it's a different pen. I don't know. I would think maybe it's more of a brush pen. And it kind of makes it all solid. I don't know. It's just a thought. And to my knowledge, there's a different printing of this book too. I think this is one of the first printings or something. I'm not sure. I didn't read the little thing at the beginning, but I don't know. I don't know if these are people that he know or people work from a portrait, or I believe that some people are just people that he looked over and he just saw sitting in a cafe or a pub or something like that, and he tried to catch him real quick. See, to me, this is when the work becomes like fascinating, because I love, depicting females in art. So this is when my attention really, really hones in. See things like this too. I love that. It's a feeling of immersion, This actually looks like under the pier at Ocean City. But this could be under the pier at anywhere, USA or even abroad. Sunbathers. This looked like color pencil, but it could be watercolor or something. I can't tell. There's no texture in this book. But this looks more like watercolor or something. Look at this. The foreshortening of the foot. And again, I don't think he did this in pencil first and went over it. It looks like just ink. It's how it looks. And I love the wavy lines. Very, very Schultz, very just wavy lines. They're not super straight, but they are confident. And you can tell. You can tell he knew exactly what he wanted to put down. Eventually. You understand? It's like, well, at least when it comes to this, he saw what he wanted to do and he just simply did it. Not a lot of guesswork. Just kind of let your mind go and let your pen take over and just capture it, And with this right here, we're going to stop because I'm going to come back. Oh, so this one actually has a date and signature on it. I'm going to come back and we're going to pick up on the next page. Alrighty? This is, it has no detail, really, but you know exactly what it is. And we'll come back to this book in a few. If you enjoy it, please let me know. Stick around, like, subscribe, and yeah, hold on for part 2. I'll be doing that soon. Peace.